Do you know what? I was thinking this weekend about some stuff, right? And something that became really apparent to me recently is like how much my thinking, or I allow my thinking to cloud like the real view of what's going on in life. And this is really powerful, right? Because when you can acknowledge that actually the thinking that I'm giving attention to is creating the experience that I'm having, you can understand that actually you don't need to give the attention to to those thoughts. Hey Arena, hey Delsita, um, when you give attention to those thoughts, you're basically just giving them energy, giving them power, right? And there was a quote that I shared the other day, which was, I'm probably going to get it entirely wrong, right? But it was to to be free, you can't be in debt, right? Because it was saying, it wasn't exactly worded like that, obviously, but to be free, you can't be in debt, because if you're in debt, then as a lender, you're always going to be a slave to the debtor because you owe something. And therefore, if you want to be free, you can't be in debt, right? And you can't be both. It's one or the other. And this is really important because you realize actually when you, hey Rosie, hey Vidula, when you give your attention and give your power and focus to thought, right? So, oh, I'm not good enough, as an example. When I give that power and I give that attention, I'm basically creating a debt to that thought. That's what's happening. I'm creating a debt to that thought because now I owe that thought with my attention and my focus, because that's what I've been given it, right? And the more I do this, the more debt that I'm stacking up for these thoughts and these beliefs and these feelings that aren't necessarily even true, but I'm giving them the attention and the power over me. And realizing this and seeing it this way has really helped me with, like, actually, if I'm having a, in inverted commas, bad day, and I'm telling myself, "Oh, I'm having a bad day, so I can't do this, I can't do that." I'm just giving this thought of having a bad day more attention. I'm creating more and more debt to it, right? Which means if I'm creating debt to this thought, I can't be free from it, right? I can't just let it go because I'm now creating debt to it. I'm owing it. I'm, you know, creating a bond with it is another way of looking at it. And when you really see that, and when you really see that this is happening all the time, every day, and I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm by no means perfect, so I'm very much in this with you guys. But when you see that this is happening all the time, over and over and over again, what you notice is that, okay, so I'm just giving my attention away to these thoughts. I'm giving my attention away. I'm giving my power away to this thought when actually I don't need to. I don't need to have this debt. I'm choosing. That's it. That's the difference, right? You're choosing to have this debt. And that's what we do. We're choosing to give our energy away. And that's something that's just really occurred to me, like, in the last few weeks, and how regularly that's happening and how that's showing up in my life, and just understanding that for myself is helping me to just drop a load of shit. Like, honestly, Irina has said, how do I ignore my toxic best friend? I mean, the simple answer is to just ignore them, right? Just do it. But I would like to I guess fully understand why you feel like that is a relationship that you no longer want in your life. And this is actually a really good point, because this is something I've spoken about recently, but it's really powerful point when it comes to relationships. Like, when you look at relationships in your life in terms of, like, who are the people that I want to be spending time with, and what is it that I'm getting from this time with these people in order for this to be a thriving relationship. What's up, Beige, my brother Beige? How's it going? Because this is how you identify, okay, is this a toxic relationship that I no longer want to be in? And it doesn't have to be I no longer want to be in this relationship. Maybe it's something you can talk about with that person, be it a friend or a family member or a partner, whatever it is, right? Opening up that line of communication is far more powerful than just cutting something off. Yes, cutting something off will probably give you a really short-term answer, really short-term benefit, but actually the communication and the level of communication and the way that you apply that to the relationship is far more powerful, because what you're doing is you're not being afraid to speak about what you feel is not going right, or what you do feel is going right, or whatever within the relationship, you're actually really like exploring this stuff with the other person. And that's when a really powerful connection forms, right? And that doesn't mean that that relationship is going to be something that lasts for the rest of your life or whatever. Like if you decide, within that actually this isn't a relationship that's really serving me, we just sit around and we smoke and we drink or whatever, we don't do much, and I feel like I want to be getting more out of the relationship, then what's really important to ask is yourself is like, what is it that I would like to be getting from this relationship? And have that conversation with someone. They may not be willing to meet you halfway, but if they are willing to meet you on that, then what's going to happen is that relationship will come far more powerful. So who else has just jumped in here? Hey Jenny, hey Chris, how's it going, sir? Hey Courtney, thanks for joining. So Ellie has asked how to not let negative experiences from previous relationships influence negatively on new ones. This is a really good question, right? Because this is something that we do a lot. Like, we bring all of our old shit and baggage from previous relationships into new relationships. And all that we're doing here, right, is we're not actually bringing that stuff to the relationship. We just think we are, right? And I was listening to a podcast earlier with a brilliant coach called Michael Neal, and he was saying that anything that you can't put into a wheelbarrow is just thought created. So like this bottle, I can put it in a wheelbarrow, so it exists right now. This mouse, I can put in a wheelbarrow, it exists right now. Me, this t-shirt, whatever, you get the point, right? My thought about a previous relationship is not something that I can physically put into a wheelbarrow. Therefore, that does not exist. That only exists in my thinking. So when it comes to like letting go of negative experiences from previous relationships, it's much more to do with actually being okay that those experiences happened. And when you become okay with those experiences, naturally you let go of them, right? Because what happens to us is we have a thought about something, it becomes a belief or a story about, oh, this is how I was treated, or this is what happened to me in a past relationship, etc., etc. And we bring those beliefs and we show up in the exact same way that we were treated in a previous relationship in the new relationships. So if the story, as an example, is I was a victim in some way, emotional or whatever, in my previous relationship, if you believe that story to be true, then you're going to be showing up as a victim in your new and current relationships, right? So the experience is going to be exactly the same. So the problem is not so much about how do you let go of the past experiences. It's more to do with how do I not let the belief, or how do I stop believing that I have to bring that experience into a new relationship? Because you don't. Like, it's a choice. You can start any relationship as a complete blank canvas. Like, if you're an artist and you've got a blank canvas in front of you, and you have the paints and your brush, and you want to paint something entirely new, yes, okay, you might have a certain style that you've worked on previously, that you've worked on in your past, and you kind of paint in a certain type of way. That doesn't mean that you have to paint in that exact way on a new blank canvas. You can paint whatever you want. You can just paint a blue sky and some clouds and a sun and a smiley face. Done. It doesn't have to be this Renaissance piece that you've painted before or whatever. You actually have the choice to paint whatever it is you want onto that blank canvas. And this is the same with life. You always have the choice of what you want to paint on the blank canvas that is in front of you in life. You don't have to base that on anything that you've done previously. So Ellie, I hope that helps with your question. Let me know if there's anything else that's come to you with that, or if that was helpful. Who else has joined us here? Hey Tha, hey Psychic Tree Frog, hey Jess, hey Luan Nomi. Hope I said that right. I probably didn't, and I apologize. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, something that is a burning question for you that you want help with, or something that you're just interested to know about self-development, spirituality, whatever it is, then please let me know, because as I keep saying, the way that you're going to get the most out of this time together right now is to actually take part and interact in it, and not just be sat there and have it playing while you're doing some cooking or whatever. Like, actually make use of it. Like, if you've got a question, like, ask the question. So Courtney's in the room. He asked me earlier, actually, really good question. What's something that I've had to unlearn? And this is a great question, and I tell you why. Because the simple answer is everything. And that sounds wild, right? But it's true, because like what I've come to realize is that everything that I thought that I knew, I don't actually know. I don't actually know anything, and I'm okay with that. So when you're sitting in this place of like what you want to uh what you want to know, I need to know this, I want to read that book, I need to know the latest technique for that, and I need to, be the best at that, I need to know all the information. All you're doing is you're seeking out the known, right? But the power within life is actually being with the unknown. And this is a journey that, I've been going on and trying to understand for many years now. And the more that I think I know, the less I realize I know, if that makes sense, right? And it sounds so like mad and counterintuitive or whatever, but it's just about understanding that going with your wisdom is the most powerful thing you can do. And when you step away from the known and you live in that space of the unknown, what all you're doing, right? To use a really solid example, is if I'm watching TV in this room and I've left the TV on in another room, and that TV in the other room is really loud that I can't hear the TV in the room in front of me, instead of turning the volume up on the TV that I'm watching, which is in this case us, turning the volume up on what more can I learn, what more can I know, what more. The best thing you can actually do is go into the other room and turn the volume down on the TV that's really loud, so that you can hear the TV that you are watching, right? And this is the same when it comes to your wisdom. When your busy mind is turned all the way up, it's not about how can I turn the volume up on my inner wisdom so I can hear it more. It's about turning the volume down on the busy thinking mind, so that your wisdom can be heard. And this is what I'm talking about, the difference between the known and the unknown, right? The known is your busy thinking mind, and the unknown is your wisdom, which just comes through you naturally, right? It's innate within you. So Courtney, I hope that answers your question. I know we had a couple more come in. Mr. David Speed in the building. Go check out his page. Amazing artwork, amazing podcast of the Creative Rebels podcast. Guys who have listened to my podcast before will be no strangers of David. Very good friend of mine and amazing human beings. Q has asked, as humans, we inherit certain physical traits from our parents and ancestors. Do you believe we also inherit negative traits from our parents and ancestors? And if so, how can we differentiate? This is a really good question, right? And this is the kind of nature nurture debate, isn't it? Like, what are the things that I inherit naturally from my parents, and what are the things that have been nurtured into me? And anything physical, I'd say I'd be pretty comfortable in saying that you've probably inherited them somewhat from your parents through the genes and all that sort of stuff, right? Anything kind of maybe emotional wise or thought wise or personality wise, that's stuff that is nurtured over time. Because there's a famous saying that babies don't need therapy, right? Because they live in a pure state of experience where they don't have any concepts or meaning or language to create concepts or meaning or ideas or stories or beliefs about themselves. They're just not capable of doing it because they don't have the language to do it. So they just live in this pure state of living, which, we would call the present, or clarity or inner peace or wisdom, or whatever you want to call it, right? And the beautiful thing about this is that that is our innate factory default settings, right? That's our factory default settings. And as we go through life, we start to see the world around us and interact with it. And through that, we start to create stories and beliefs and ideas about ourselves. We see the way our parents are, and we take on beliefs based on how we see them, and we go to school and the same thing happens, and we, go through work and whatever. And all that we're doing is we're layering more stories and beliefs on top of our actual innate pure experience of life. And we cloud out what that experience of life, a pure experience of life, is like, right? And this goes back to the point I was just talking about turning down the volume on the known. That's all it is. It's about actually going and seeing that all of these stories and beliefs that you have about yourself, whether it's like I'm ugly, or I'm not good enough, or I'll never be successful, or I'll never earn this amount of money, or I'll never be able to go to Mauritius on a 5-star holiday, or whatever it is, right? None of those thoughts are true. Like, literally none of them are true. You've just decided that they are, and you've made them up and believe that they're true, and then forgotten that you've made up those thoughts. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, when you're able to turn down that volume on that stuff there, you'll see that actually the only thing that we've really inherited from our parents and ancestors is our actual physical build up DNA, right? Because that's what's made us, that's what's brought us into the world. But in terms of the consciousness that we live through and experience life, that is the same consciousness as all around us. It's the same consciousness in your parents and your friends. It's the same consciousness in the birds and your pet dog and the trees and the rest of the planets in our galaxy and the universe. Like, it's all the same consciousness. It's no different. And it's when we're living through that consciousness that we are really experiencing that pure essence of life. And I think that really speaks to Chris's question, where he said, how do I balance living in the present with working towards and manifesting the future I want? And this is a really amazing question, because this is something that I've really been going through myself in the last few months. Is like, I want to be present, right? But also I've got goals. Like, there's stuff I want to achieve. I want to build my coaching business. I want to live my life a certain type of way. And what I've come to realize is that all of that is possible. All of that is possible. All of that is possible right now. It's all a possibility right now. And when it comes to, like, living in the present, again, it relates back to what we're just saying on, if I'm constantly looking for the how to, the I need to do that, I need more information on this, I need to do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just seeking out more and more and more known, right? But when you set yourself and you experience the life from the place of the unknown, what's actually happening is that you're trusting in what's to come, and you're trusting in your innate wisdom. You're trusting in the consciousness that I was just talking about. Like, if you're on a journey, right, I feel like an actual physical journey, right? And I mean, like, if you're, say, trekking up a mountain, right, you don't know what your 100th step is going to look like. You don't know what your 1,000th step is going to look like. You don't know what the final step at the top of the mountain is going to look like. You don't know what any of your steps on the way back down are going to look like. The only step that you know how to take is the next one. And when you take the next step, the one that follows will reveal itself to you. And this is the same when it comes to your wisdom. If you allow your wisdom to just come through and speak to you, it will always make clear what is the right thing to do next. Yes, of course, you can have commitments. I have a lot of commitments right now. Like, I've just committed to, like, one-to-one work with my coach for a year, which is a lot of money, right? And I'm committing that because I want to take the learnings from that to create the future I want for myself and the way that I want to live my life and my coaching business and everything like that. But unless I'm fully present right now, all of that stuff is going to become less possible for me, because I'm going to be too busy seeking out the hows and the whys and the whats to actually seeing what's present right now in front of me, right? Which in this case is you guys right here on Instagram. And if I'm not present with you guys right now, and I'm too busy thinking about what I've got to do next and this, that, and the other, then I'm not being present to myself, right? And when that happens and I'm not being present to myself, then it comes back to the thing of like, I'm getting caught up in turning the volume up on the known rather than turning the volume down and allowing the wisdom to come through. And again, this may all sound woo woo to you, right? And that's totally fine. But what I want you to really see is that your inner wisdom, your truth, your, source, life source, whatever you want to call it, is innate within you. It's innate within you. It will guide you through life. Is it true that if you don't have goals, you're not going to achieve anything? No. You can have wonderful relationships, you can have a great career, great job, great family, great life without setting any goals. Do goals work? In some instances, yes. So it's not about actually going what's the right and wrong way. It's just about knowing how to really be present with what's in front of you, and from that, and understanding what it is that you want to create, you almost have a kind of a path in front of you of what to follow. And when you follow that path and get curious, other avenues may present themselves, and then you have a decision: do I want to take this path or that path? And at the end of the day, what I believe is that no path is the wrong path, because you're going to learn something either way, whether it's good or bad or positive, negative, right? You're still going to learn something. And the path that you walk is the path that you're always going to continue to walk regardless. So I hope that helps, Chris. Let me know if it doesn't.